What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna replace the axle on this Acura MDX on the passenger side. So I bought an axle, the brand and the part number. Yes, you guys can see right there. H0-8404. Hopefully you guys can see that in the brand. And this is what the box look like. Okay. And this is what the axle look like. So I like to buy a brand new axle. I do not buy nothing refurbished because you don't want no click, 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 click. So this car makes noise turning right or left. And the customer, I recommend him both axles. He decided to do both axles. So I do have a video on the driver's side. This is the passenger side. Passenger side is a bit different on this end if you take a look at my other video. But I'm gonna give you guys a full guide, and we're gonna step in there and I'm gonna give you the torque spec. You might not see me actually using the wrench, but I am going to use the torque specs, and that's something that I do off the camera. And I like to be precise and precision on that. And small jobs I do show, but let's get into this job and let's knock this guy out really quick. Okay, to start off, we're gonna take off just like the opposite side. We're gonna take off this number 12 here. So you need a 12mm socket, and I'm using a 3/8 ratchet with almost a ½ foot long extension. It's like 6 inches. That baby comes out. Once this baby comes out, you have clearance. So when the spindle moves, you don't stretch this cable. That's the whole purpose of that. And then on the opposite side, let's bring our camera on this side now. And we're gonna bring our light as well on this side. We have a number 10 on this ABS brake line. I'm sorry, ABS line for the ABS system. And this 10 comes right out. And once you have that 10mm off, you have free play in this, so you won't stretch this line. While we're here, let's look down here, okay? We're gonna get our cutter just like the opposite side. We're gonna remove this cotter pin right from its spot. And just unfold it, and then you can just smack it and pull it. And if you take it out nicely, you can reuse it. If not, put a new one in. But this one looks pretty good. We're gonna reuse it. So that's a 17mm. I'm gonna go get my impact gun. As you can see, we have all of the tools together, so it's much easier on this side than the opposite side. And we're gonna remove this guy. This guy comes off. So save all the bolts, okay? So as I explained on the opposite side, you can use a fork here that should have a push-in tool, which will damage your threads if you install it wrong. You cannot hit this with the hammer. So I like to hit the spindle with the hammer. So I forgot the hammer on the opposite side. I'm gonna go get a hammer and I'm gonna smack this, and we're gonna remove it right now. So same procedure here. I'm gonna go underneath the vehicle. Let's see if I have space down here. And we're gonna smack the spindle. There you go. The baby comes right off. Very simple. Okay. And okay, remember last time I said we was gonna do this first and I didn't do it. I always like to check the bolt, and sometimes I forget. But whenever you forget, this thing is seized up. If this thing does not come out, move, you're not gonna be able to obtain the axle. So we're gonna smack this bolt off, 36mm. I will show you all the tools at the end of the video. Okay, so it did not move. Okay, I'm gonna go get a punch and we're gonna hit it. Okay, so I should have done this in the beginning, just like the other side. A lot of times this axle, you don't want to hit this with the hammer directly. It moves, it went through. It's gonna be tough to get us the new one in, so we'll clean up the hub a bit. So you might want to get a brush. So clean the inside of this hub, put some WD-40 on it. So that's that. So next step, we're gonna put our impact gun on this. You might want to use a adjustable wrench on the opposite side to hold the nut, the stud from moving around. Ooh, almost caught my finger between the rotor and that. That always happens. Not always, but you want to avoid it, you know. There you go. And there you go. Take this guy off. That one came off already. And I'm gonna push the studs out. Okay, these babies don't want to move. It is heavy. And I don't have too much space on this side of the shop. That's what I hate. There you go. There you go. What I want to do is take one off and take the second one off. And then guess what? We're in trouble again. I forgot the thing I put in this. You could get a screwdriver to stick it in there. Let me just throw these on the floor because I don't have nothing to hold this with. So there we have it. So our spindle is gonna free play as soon as we push the axle out of the way completely. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna punch the axle with the hammer and this right from the center, but the camera can see from this side how it's moving. Where's my hammer? Right in back of me. Oh, that came out pretty easy. That's pretty smooth. I do have a bearing job on this vehicle, so if you guys need to know how to do that, it's there. Okay, let me not stretch any lines. The axle needs to come out. So notice we bring the axle out this way, not the other way, because the sway bar link will bother us on that side. So we're gonna turn this guy around, make sure this line doesn't get stretched too much, and it is getting stretched a bit. So I'm gonna stick this back, and I'm gonna stick my chisel, the punch, right through one of the holes, or it can just sit there. That feels good to me. And I'll just push down on it, and I'll stick this right through there, and that can sit there, and we have a lot of space. So this axle is a bit different. So what we need to do is we need to hit right here with the pry bar. Put a pry bar right here, hit it with the hammer. Underneath the vehicle, you can see the axle from right here, and you're gonna pry it out a bit, so you're not gonna have a lot of space to work with, and cameras might not even catch it. So what you want to do is right on the neck of the axle, and you don't want to enforce it with anything else. So I'm gonna get this guy out, and okay, the muffler's not gonna help me there. So let me get this guy out, just hit it, and bring it out. So we did hammer the axle right from the back. It's very easy. Find a good spot, and the baby is not all the way out yet. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna just tap it, as you guys can see, while I'm tapping from back over here. Right on the neck of the axle. Oh, there you go. Whoa. And the axle comes right out. So the reverse procedure, make sure you match up the axle and just put them side by side. Make sure this axle is linked enough from one end to the other end. Make sure everything is same. So I know this axle is good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this axle back onto that guy from the same way here. Okay, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Be careful. Take it easy, line everything. Make sure all the grooves and the teeth are sitting properly. You should be able to feel it. There you go. Once you see it's not turning much, and then you can use the axle itself to push it in. Okay, it didn't sit, it popped out. Completely popped out. Okay, come on baby. Go back in the spot, there you go. I'm gonna let this sit here for a second. I'm gonna go get a rubber mallet. So we're gonna hit this one with the rubber mallet. Make sure your nut is on and it's flush evenly. Let's bring our camera back. The axle is sitting perfectly in it. The teeth are lined, and what I'm gonna do is, there you go, and the baby popped right in. Double check it. There you go. The baby comes off. The nut had to come off always. And we need to take out this guy, which wasn't even doing much. And we're gonna stick the axle from down below. But we need to pull this forward a bit. Oop. There you go. You can sit on my stomach. No problem, baby. There you go. Like I said, this axle might give us a trouble going in because it was rough to take out. But at the end, it was pretty easy. There you go. Oh, there you go. Pretty easy. Not bad. I cannot complain on this guy. Cannot complain. It's been good to me. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put the studs back in. Make sure your holes are in line. Push down on it a bit. Spindle's heavy. Okay, there you go. How come it's not aligning? There you go. Once I get one in, the second one should be a piece of cake. We got the two nuts, which I am gonna torque, and I'm gonna come back. But let me give you the torque spec. This is the same torque specs for the opposite side. Let me go get the torque specs, and then I'm gonna lock both of these up, and then I'm gonna bring the torque specs to you guys for all the bolts. Okay, guys, let's give you guys some torque spec action. So the two bolts for the strut here are where did it go? 156 foot-pound. This one right here for the brake line is a 16 foot-pound. The 10 millimeter on the ABS line is 7.2 foot-pound, and the main axle bolt for the axle is 242 foot-pound. The tie rod bolt, the nut for this tie rod here, is 44 foot-pound. That's everything there, and I'm gonna finish out the rest of the job. Then I'll show you guys the tools that we used. But let's continue and bang out the rest of this job. So I'm gonna put nuts and bolts, and then I'm gonna torque, and then at the end we're gonna put the cotter pin. So this goes in, and we're gonna come back this way. I gotta torque that so it's still loose. No worries, just don't forget anything. Make sure you double check everything. And then we got this guy right here. Number 10. And then we got the 17 millimeter for the tie rod here. Okay, and then we got axle nut right over here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna torque everything. To tighten this, you might have to hold it up and then snug it with the impact gun and then torque it. So I'm gonna torque this, I'm gonna torque this, I'm gonna torque this, I'm gonna torque this, and we're gonna bring the car back up. This one is tricky. You had to put the car on the floor or have somebody hold the brake pedal for you and lock this guy up with the torques. Anyways, so everything is all done. We're looking good. So the last thing we want to do is put your cotter pin in, make sure everything is tight, double check your work, double check all your bolts, be safe lifting the car, make sure you follow all of your procedures correctly. And this is just a guidance, and I'm sure you guys like my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share and like. I got a ton of other videos coming out. And one last thing over here, which it's gonna be hard for you guys to see, but let's turn this baby. There you go. Chisel and a hammer. We're gonna lock up the little notch right there. So where's my hammer? and lock up that notch. Okay, I'll show you guys with the camera up close and personal before I end the video. And that's done. And now it's time for us to go through the tools. So let me put everything away and show you guys. So there's the notch that we locked up right there. We just bent it a bit. And make sure you double check everything. This is locked up, this is locked up. Axle is in there good. Tight, 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 everything is tight. And so the tools here, we use this adjustable wrench, 17mm for the impact gun, 22 for the wheels, 24mm, all for the impact gun. We use the 12mm with the extension and a 3/8 drive and a 3/8 ratchet. We use this punch, we choose this chisel, we use this number 10 here. We use our torque wrench and a 36mm socket there with the reducer there, and then I have pry bar sitting down there, so you need a pry bar. So everything is all done. Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys understand and learned one or two things, and if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe and share and like.